Hello and welcome to Paint Calm on a Friday. Today we are going to be doing some leaves and berries, and the colours I have picked out are from my Michael Harding paints. So I've picked out New Gamboge, Titan Buff and Cosmic Blue as my main colours, and then my accent colour is Belladonna. So New Gamboge, I think, goes across many brands of paints. Buff Titanium also. Cosmic Blue is probably something that might just be linked with Michael Harding. You could change that to a bluey indigo. And then obviously this Belladonna is a purple. So make your choice of purple. Here I was just doing some extra mixing of colours. I quite like the fact that Belladonna and New Gamboge gave me a brown, although I'm not actually going to use that in this painting, but I will be in a future painting. So those are the colours and where I've tried them all out. On the back I have picked out some coloured pencils. So we've got 3 luminance and a Derwent Lightfast. The luminance is Indian Yellow, Dark Sap Green and Quinacridone Purple, and the Derwent Lightfast is Wild Lavender. So those are my 4 pencils that I've picked out. I'm going to pop them to one side for the minute because we're not going to need them until we're doing some details at the end. So you might want to go and find yourself some colours if you want to paint along with me. Hopefully these colours are not going to be too much of a problem for you to find in your own palette. So I hope you quite like the idea of these little colour cards. I'm finding them really useful, and I think I will be using them in a lot of my videos in the future. There we go. Those are our colours. So let's just pop that to one side. So if you look at our composition here, we have got a kind of a diagonal composition, and we've got a background. We've got some lighter leaves in the background and some lighter indications of berries in the background, and then we've got our darker colour coming through and our darker berries, and then on top of that we've then got our details. So I will also be using bleed proof white for these bits here, but you could use a gel pen, you could use something else that will give you just those little white dots. Okay, let me pop that to one side for the minute. Actually, maybe I will leave that there. I'm going to be using this palette that it says it's hand wash only, not for the microwave, made in China, but I got this from a little local garden centre. It was about £4.99. I really love it. So it's got colours on left over from where I was doing this painting. So that's the palette that I'm going to be using. So we'll pop that one there. I've got my Michael Harding paints out, ready to use. And I've got some water here. The 2 brushes that I'm going to use today are both Princeton Snap brushes. They're round brushes and they're a size 12 and a size 6. They don't particularly go to a very fine point. I'm not bothered about that for this painting, That's why I've picked them though as well, because I want some rounder edges. I don't particularly want a round brush that goes to a very fine point. So that's why I've picked those. I've got my cloth here to the side. Okay, the paper that I'm using is Milford watercolour paper, 300 GSM, cold pressed or not. It came in quarter imperial size sheets, but I'm going to use them like this. I've cut them each sheet into quarters. So I'm going to be using one of these today. Get one of those out. There we go. And then we can pop that to one side. I also need to tape it to my, we might need to move that over there because I need to move up a bit. This is the tape that I'm going to use. It's the Frog Tape Delicate Surface, in the hope, well, I mean, it's usually not too bad because it's low tack. It shouldn't tear my paper. So I like using one of these cutting boards to stick my paper on because you can kind of line it up quite nicely. So let's just start there, and then we will keep moving this round. And we'll get that taped down. I'm doing this all on camera today because as I'm doing this as a premiere, I want people to be able to follow along with me if they want to. I think what I might do in the description is put the materials that you're going to need in order to follow along. Okay, and we want it portrait, not landscape. So let me pop my masking tape down, and that means that I can hopefully move this over a bit and get more of my paints in, like so. There we go. And I can maybe just keep bringing that up for reference. I'm not going to do any drawing, so don't worry about your drawing skills. We don't need those. But what we do need to do to start off with, oh, actually, before I start, I should just say that my inspiration, yet again, has come from this wonderful Inga Buivadovici book, Painting Calm, Connect to Nature Through the Art of Watercolour. I'm so loving her books at the moment. In fact, I am doing a little course on Domestika. So, and I found that really useful. I will put a link to that in the description as well. Okay, so hopefully you've caught up with me. And what we're going to do first of all is just wet our paper, because we want wet on wet to start off with. And if you ever want to check to make sure that you have covered all of your paper, which I haven't quite, if you hold it up to the light, it will have a slight shine on it. There we go, that's better. Okay, so much like in this one, I'm going to do a patch of yellow using the New Gamboge. which for me is just here. So we're just going to get this. I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to use my brush and water. So we're just going to get that in there because I want the light to shine through. Then I'm going to take my Cosmic Blue, and I want that quite watered down. And of course, we all know that blue and yellow makes green, but that's okay in this painting. So we don't need to worry too much about it. Okay. So we have some yellow and some blue. And now I'm just going to use a little bit that's on my palette already because I want it quite watered down anyway. And what I want are some hints of berries. So I'm just going to put some circles, and it doesn't really matter that they're spreading out. This is just all background anyway. It's just so that we've got something going on in the background that hints about berries, basically. Now, that needs to dry before we can do our next layer. Do bear in mind that when watercolours dry, they dry lighter than how they look on the paper when they're wet. So I'm just going to pause and dry. Okay, as you can see, that's come up a lot lighter than it was when I did it. Next, we want to get some pale green leaves in. So I'm going to mix some of my blue with my yellow, and I really want that watered down again. And then what I want to do is have a kind of a diagonal line that I can use as a guide. And then I want in 2 strokes, if I can, to get these leaves in. That one went a bit of a funny shape, but that's okay. Might take 3 strokes. Okay, so you can see that these are still very faint in the background. We're just giving a hint of and we might be able to get one more in there, maybe even one there, but not there. I'm going to leave that. So there we have some paler green leaves in the background, and we need that to dry now. So this is all about layering, basically. I'm going to bring that up. You can see that we're building up perspective and depth by using these various layers. So next we want to go darker with our leaves. So let me grab some more blue. And just add to what I had already there. And I'm not going to try and do the same line. I'm just going to get our leaves in. Like so, and we're just building up our picture, still going across basically, and I might have one coming off the page there, one coming off the page there. It won't look exactly the same as the one I've done here because they never do. So that's just kind of how it is. And it's probably best not to even try. So now we've got our leaves coming up, and just to add some interest, I'm going to take a little bit of my New Gamboge and just drop that in places. Just so that it's not, those leaves aren't all one colour. Okay, let's get that dried and then we'll move on to the next layer. So this is layer upon layer. There we go. So that's that layer dried. And you can see that this is really starting to build up now. Okay, I'm going to go with a smaller brush because I want to start getting some of these berries in. So for that, I'm going to need my, where has it gone? There it is. My Belladonna. You can use whatever purple you like. Yep, they are dry. And I want to get some down the bottom here because this is my dark area. So I really want to get these dark berries in the bottom here. But I need to keep kind of changing the colour. So I'm now adding a little bit of the Cosmic Blue. And I don't mind if these overlap and bleed into each other. That's all good. I can use the same colour here. So we've got 3 berries there. And then I think, well, maybe let's have some coming down here like I did before. So I think I need that to be a bit more concentrated. There we go. And I might even add some buff titanium so that I can get some slightly lighter ones in. This will bleed because I've touched the side, but that's all okay, that's all good. And I'm doing the same here. There we go. So we've got a couple there that are, that's gone into brown. Right, we don't want that. Let's go back here. And so I'm just mixing the blue in with it, or adding a bit of the buff titanium, just to bring the changes. And because this is such a nice dark colour, it goes over what we've already done really quite nicely. So we've got some at the top there, some there, and we're going to put some down here as well. And let's just add a bit more blue. Okay. Do we need any more? Do we need it to come down a bit further? Maybe we do. So there isn't a huge variation, but there is some, and obviously it's still wet. And you can see that some of these are bleeding. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need it to be perfect. So I'm not going to go overboard, because we're going to be doing some other details using our pencils and other things. So, naughty girl, leaving my brushes in the water. Let me just dry this back again. Now I'm going to use my dark sap green. List that on the back. Yes. So this is the Luminant Dark Sap Green, and I just want to get these berries kind of linked somehow and get some little stalks going on. Just so that they're not kind of like floating about in midair, really. And I'm not going to do the stalks on that one. I'm going to leave that. So we've got some stalks now for our berries. And what I do want to do is I'm going to move my paints out of the way. And I'm going to use, let's do the berries first, actually. I'm going to use a combination of the Quinacridone Purple in the Luminance and Wild Lavender in Derwent Lightfast. And what I want to get is some interest into my berries. So for some of them, I'm going to add some of this, and it gives a really good texture over the top. This one, I think. So I'm just adding a little bit of coloured pencil. I won't bother with the ones on the edge because they're not so this really does brighten these up. Perhaps that one can have a little bit of the lighter colour going into the in there, and so can that one round there. Okay, I'm just going to bring that up, and I think you can see how where I've used the wild lavender over the top of the dark ones, it gives a really good texture on those berries, and then these ones it just brightens that purple up as if the light's shining on them in places. So I really quite like that, and I will come back and I might do some, you can see here I did some circles. I think I might do that again, but first I want to do something with these leaves, and so I'm going to get some lines going on here. So we've got a few there. There. And I'm trying not to do exactly the same thing on each one. So that it has a little bit of interest, if you like. So we've used that. I think looking at it, I want to get a gold pen out. That's silver. Is this a Uniball Signo? I can have Uniball Gold. Doesn't say Signo on here. Anyway, it's a gold gel pen, and I just want to get a little bit of an outline on the inside of these leaves, and you might not be able to see that too well at the minute. So if I bring that up, yes, you can see that now. Yep. So we've got a little bit more interest going on. Now let's use our two purpley pencils again, Wild Lavender and Quinacridone Rose. And I just want to do some circles, different sizes. And some I'm filling in and some I'm not. I'm not going to do them everywhere. I'm keeping this part here clear. And we'll just add in, you can have some going off the page again, I think. So we've got that going there. Okay, let us add the white onto our berries. Like that, and that really helps them to pop. What else might we want to do? I think in order to help give some movement, I want to do some splatting. So I'm just using the Belladonna on my palette here. It is mingled with a bit of other colours, but it will be fine. And I even want those splats to go on those leaves. Like that. There. Now, I think that that is quite simple to do. There's nothing hugely complicated, but it's quite effective with the layering. Not the same as the one I did before, but similar. And what we have, if I squint, I can see that my very darks are my berries, and they kind of go around the edge of the page here. This is fairly dark, so those berries lead, and because it's a diagonal, leads us back down, around, back down, and round our painting. But we've got darks, we've got lights, we've got some mid-tones, and I'm quite pleased with that. So let's undo our masking tape. So there we are. I turn that round. We can put version 1 and version 2 on the table. I can bring those up. So that was my practice. And then this is the one that I've done today. Maybe having those slightly darker leaves was quite nice. But I'm still very happy with how this one has turned out. So have a go yourself. Just relax, no drawing skills needed, just leaf shapes and round circle berries, and some nice little playing with our finishing touches. So I hope you enjoyed that, everyone. And yeah, let's look forward to next Friday's Paint Calm. Until then, as usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay calm.